welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Hovanessian with Harvard Eye. Well, Dr. H, how are you?
I'm great. It's been a terrific fall and enjoying every bit of it. Cooling off a little bit.
Yes. Well, we certainly are enjoying that because we are tired of the 89 degrees that we were having there consecutively. So
You bet.
all good. Maybe the leaves will change eventually.
Exactly.
So interesting. We're talking about genetic testing. You wouldn't think that for your eyes, you would do genetic testing. Is there something that you're looking for in terms of diseases?
Yeah, genetic testing is really, we're in a new era in medicine that is going to make life better, because if we can better understand what our specific genetic makeup is, we can better understand how to treat disease that we have, and also to identify and early intervene against diseases that we are at high risk of having. And that's really what we're going to talk about here today. There's a condition in the eye that this applies to called keratoconus. And we have a picture of an eye with some fairly obvious keratoconus with side by side two pictures that show the front of the eye, the cornea here, bulges forward. It has almost a cone-shaped appearance. And this is a pretty advanced case where you can see it with the naked eye. Very often it's much more subtle than this. This happens when there's a weakness in the structure of the tissue and in the cornea. And it's usually a genetic related condition. And the traditional method of treatment for this, you see in this picture with four different images from different steps of the corneal transplant procedure, is to take the whole centerpiece of the cornea out and transplant it with another piece of tissue from a donor inside the eye. And this, in the next picture with two real side-by-side pictures, shows you what it looks like in a real person. And it's quite an invasive procedure. Yeah, we keep that up there very long.
I'm like, ew.
But that is, in fact, one of the commonest reasons we've done corneal transplants traditionally was this condition. Now, the good news is we do far fewer transplants nowadays because we have a treatment called cross-linking. And cross-linking the cornea isn't a surgical procedure. It's actually an office treatment that we do by using eye drops on the eye, riboflavin drops, and ultraviolet light. And what it does chemically is what you see in the picture of the lumber here. It creates a cross-linking structurally between the layers of tissue that leads to greater strength. And that greater strength really does impart better integrity and less shape change in the cornea. As you can see, just, it's like if the lumber in the house, just like that is chemically what's happening in the cornea. From the patient's perspective, the cross-linking procedure is easy to go through. They see a blue light that shines on the eye after they've received some drops. Afterwards, there's a little stinging, but it's really fairly tolerable. And it has about a 95% chance of permanently stopping this condition from going forward. So you might ask, where does genetic testing play into this? And what it does is it tells us who's at risk before they develop the disease. The real shame of keratoconus is when you reach the stage like that first picture I showed you of advanced damage to the cornea. At that point, there's very little you can do to stop it from going forward or to reverse it except a corneal transplant. But if we can identify patients at risk of that, particularly family members of people who have the condition, well, the genetic testing does exactly that for us. There's a new test that is commercially available now, FDA cleared, for identifying who is at greater risk. So if you have a family member and they've got keratoconus and you've got a child or a cousin or a sibling, we test them. And if they're at the higher end of the risk scale, we may or may not treat with cross-linking at that stage, but we certainly watch them very closely, especially younger people who are at greater risk of progression. And then we can treat them before it becomes a disabling problem. And that is a real advance in our field, using just the information of a genetic test applied to the other advanced treatments that we already have available by knowing who's likely to need them. So
yeah, that is awesome. Is there a particular age? And I noticed you mentioned younger children there. So this disease is not age driven?
It is, so what happens is it progresses more in younger people. So, if you're in your 60s, you yourself can have keratoconus and it can progress. In fact, as many as 5 or 10% of patients we see for cataract surgery have signs that they may have had keratoconus at one time. They may not know about it because it never reached that advanced stage. But among younger people, it usually advances in the younger, less than 40 to 50. That doesn't mean it won't progress if you're over 40 or 50, but I'm talking about this for our audience, for our viewers in the village, as being something, if you've got family members, if you've got, keratoconus in your family and you've got younger family members, now it's not just a hope and wait. It's a let's test and be proactive. And so refer them to a doctor who's doing this kind of testing so that we can find out.
Oh, that's great. Like you said, things are definitely changing in the technology world. And here we are with something, simple in terms of a genetic test that can really help you quite a bit down the line. So awesome information.
Thanks. Yeah, it's an exciting age, and eye care continues to evolve for better vision for patients. And anytime, well, let's just put it this way: the best way to treat a disease is never to have it.
Yeah.
Here we can identify early and intervene so people never really have it.
Yeah, genetic testing is coming a long way. So awesome. All right. Well, thank you for the information.
So good to see you.
You too. And we'll be right back after this.